What's going on, everybody? I survived COVID. I'm back out here working on the cars. I finally got some strength back. But that's not the topic of this video. The topic of this video is B40 related, M60. Something that I've noticed in the past couple weeks. Not what I was originally going to film with this car, but I had to address it. So this car developed a almost misfire, running rough, kind of acting funny over the past couple of weeks as I was driving it. And post valve cover gasket job, it developed a cold start idle issue. The idle would drop off, basically symptoms of like a really bad vacuum leak. And I had no idea what it was, what it could be. You know, this B40 is giving me so many random issues because it's a swap, and it's a shoddy swap at that, because it's a 530 base. But besides the fact, I kind of started looking around the engine bay, and I noticed my freshly sealed valve covers were leaking oil. And I'm going to bring you in, leaking a lot of oil at that. So let me grab a light and I'll show you what I'm talking about here. So you can see around the grommets, but that's not really where I want to look. Where I want to look, which is in there, and you probably can hardly see from this angle, but these valve cover gaskets are leaking very badly into the spark plug wells on both sides. That side's worse than this side, and the grommets are seeping. There's not so much leaks coming from like the bottom and the outer rings, but the inner ones are really bad. And you know, brand new valve covers, rubber. I didn't really understand what was going on here. And then I boost leak tested the car, which I know sounds weird, but I don't have a smoke tester. I have a boost leak tester. So I hooked up the boost leak tester and actually got it to work. And I heard the vacuum leaking from back there. Put my hand there, and surely enough, that valve cover is actually leaking vacuum out of by the half moon. So it's not so much oil there, but it's leaking vacuum. So basically, these are leaking vacuum and they're leaking oil into the spark plug wells. And I am almost positive that's my misfire issue. We'll see when I pull these coil packs out. We'll see how oily it actually is. But basically, the valve cover gasket job did not work. They did not seal, and that confused me until I heard and did some reading and found that the paint that these valve covers are made of starts to kind of flake off, and the undersides are painted, and after heat cycles and oil and whatnot, apparently the bottom of these valve covers, you can see, I mean, even up here it's just seeping everywhere. Doesn't let them seal because of paint residue, and it's uneven. So you have uneven, you know, application of the valve cover. So we have to address that, whether that be sanding them or bead blasting them or sand blasting them. I don't think I'm gonna find anywhere to do all that. I don't think I want to spend all that. I'll probably just end up sanding them. But anyway, that's a M60 B40 issue, and we're going to address that. So we're going to pull off these valve covers. I got my new valve cover gaskets there. We're going to investigate the bottom sides and see if there's paint chipping or what's going on. And then we're going to reapply everything properly and hope that the leak is fixed. So you can see the front is dry, the back right there, there's a lot of oil that has seeped down this back half there. Only the only the far left spark plug, the fourth, is got oil in it, but there's no oil on the plugs or like the top itself. So that should not be giving me any misfiring issues. So we'll have to look over on the other side for that. But regardless, this is clearly leaking, so this is gonna have to be redone. And I'm not gonna, you know, only do one side. So I'm gonna vacuum up that center and then put some rags in there and sop up that oil, get the oil out, and then we'll pull the cover. saving these old gaskets because I am doing the FCP Euro lifetime warranty. What I want to do is I'm going to clean this up and we're going to look in all these grooves here and see how they look. So this valve cover is actually not too bad. You can kind of see if this focuses. It's a little uneven, it's a little textured, you kind of see there on the left, but it's not like what I see on the internet these guys are showing, which are like destroyed valve covers. This one's not bad at all. So I think I'm going to do is brake clean out the oil residue that's in the groove there, the inside too, and then I'm just going to run some 360 grit through this groove, sand it up, and I think we're going to be good. I don't think this is going to need any bead blasting or anything like that. It's really not that bad. Alright, so I got the valve cover sanded down, very tedious. I didn't do a great job, but I did it. I got the valve cover gasket fitted in here. That surface is clean. This is clean. Now I'm going to dab the RTV. I said I was going to do everything. I'm not going to do that. I have a different trick up my sleeve here. So I'm going to go ahead and do just the globs at the half moons, globs at the timing cover. Call it. We're going to fit the valve cover. And then what I'm going to do is... So if you've ever done a BMW valve cover, you know that these are basically how you tighten it down. You got the little nut stud thingy with the washer and then the grommet, and you go until it bottoms out, and that's basically your torque. Well, that on the M60, and apparently a lot of people notice this, doesn't seem to do the job. They keep leaking. So what some guy did once upon a time, basically just stack an additional washer on each grommet, right? So basically that gives you less thread space. So then when you tighten it down, you get more torque because you're not bottoming it out right away. So that is my plan of attack here. So I sanded them, and I'm going to add washers to try to eliminate this leak. And I think this will do the trick. So when we get there, we'll get there. But for now, time to put down some RTV and then set the valve cover in there. So that method, you can tell that little extra space, basically they won't bottom out anymore. I'm kind of stuck debating if I want to try to get it to bottom out or if I don't want to risk stripping. It's just, you know, a millimeter or so, but just that little extra bit really gets you to not bottom out, and I don't want to mess something up. Alright, I bottomed that one out. So I guess I will go until I bottom them all out. And that just should get me just a little bit extra tightness on the gasket there. I know you don't want to over tighten things, but I don't know. You can really see the gasket squished down. You can see kind of where it's oily around here. You can see it really compressed. So we're really getting a better compression here from the grommets. I think this is going to work fantastic. That valve cover is tightened on there. So now, reverse on the other side. I gotta reattach everything here. I'm gonna clean up this well again with brake cleaner. Fingers crossed that the extra, that the sanding and the extra washer does the trick. I have high hopes here. I don't want to chase down any more leaks. I'm sick of leaks on this thing. Surely enough, on the on this side, cylinder number 8, it is wet, so could be the misfire right there. You can see inside it is wet with oil, a lot of oil dripping in there. Nothing that's like drowning the spark plugs, but still a decent amount. So, and then this is the side where the vacuum leak is occurring, right at the half moon there. So this is the side that really matters. So I have the driver's side valve cover off, and I actually watched Car Ninja's video where he talks about M60, M62, whatever, valve covers. And they are painted factory, and his method is a razor blade across the top to scratch them. You can see the shiny surface, like that's like paint right there that needs to come off. And then a screwdriver in the groove, and you just kind of gouge it up, and you could see I have a ton of like paint residue in here, like a lot of it. So I'm still in the process of scraping. Then I'm gonna do some brake cleaning cycles, and then I'm gonna Scotch Brite it. But basically he says do this, and then you dip it in a solvent tank, and then brake clean it. Obviously I don't have a solvent tank here, so I can't do what a professional shop can do. But what I'm doing is how he says you do leak free, but I think the solvent tank's kind of a big part, because after you scuff it up, the solvent will pull away the residual paint. I have no way of doing that. So that's why I sanded that one, which was I think way overkill, and hopefully I didn't like sand down too much and like ruin the valve cover. So this side we're doing this technique, the Car Ninja. That side we're doing my little DIY, and I guess we'll see when we start it up if neither of them leak, if both of them leak. And then you can kind of see on the half moons, and this is just my fault, when I would RTV the half moons, I would do a thin strip through the whole half moon. The manual tells you to put globs in the corners. I think you'd be better off doing that, because this is the one that was leaking the vacuum, and it was leaking from the corner. You can see my corners, there's just like no RTV there, and that's where you need the RTV to really fill in, because you know, for a gasket to fill in a corner like that's difficult. So I'm gonna glob RTV in the corners on these half moons this time around, which should help me a lot. We're gonna finish cleaning this up, reapply everything, do the RTV, button everything back up together, and then fire it up and see if we got any leaks. So I wanted to wait and drive this car a few times before I came back and let you guys know how these valve covers went. So I put probably 100, 150 miles on it, beating the hell out of it, as you do with an M60. And I'm happy to report that the cold start idle drop issue is fixed. So that vacuum leak was fixed from re-RTVing those half moons the right way. No leaks on the perimeters, so we're good there. No leaks in the spark plug wells, which I'm most happy about. Those don't leak. So it's up in the air whether or not, you know, properly cleaning the bases and RTVing the half moons the right way, or the double washers did more of the trick here. I will say, just full disclosure, I don't think the grommets like the extra washer. The grommets are a little seepy. Nothing major. This side's actually hardly noticeable at all. But if you go to the driver's side, nothing more than without the double washer, so I don't think that's an issue, but that didn't really help. And I think the main issue there is that I still have this factory paint, which around the grommets is really like messed up, as you can see. So that is 110% why those grommets kind of leak, because the seal with the bad paint is not working. But those aren't major enough to where I need to redo anything. As long as the spark plug wells are dry and the half moons are dry, we're solid, and they are. So between the washers and the RTV, we are good. You know, I don't want to put this out there and make people think they should all double washer. I think if you clean the base of the covers really well, RTV as you should, you can get away with it, obviously, because that's what they call for from the factory. But people have had luck with this. I've had luck with this. So if you're looking for an alternative to a valve cover gasket that just will not stop leaking, maybe try and do the double washer method. Usually you're not supposed to do that, but I did it and it works. So anyway, that is the end of this horrible leaky valve cover journey. M60's really trying my patience with these valve cover gasket leaks, but we are all good now. So now I can finally rip and enjoy this car and not worry about leaking valve cover gaskets or an awkward cold start because of a vacuum leak. So thank you guys for watching. I'll see you in the next one.